Judge ordered Memphis rapper Lantrell Williams Jr., who goes by Pooh Shiesty, to stay in custody after federal officials brought kidnapping and robbery charges against him.
Fox 4 Stephen Dial was in the courtroom today. He is outside tonight with more details on what happened. Stephen?
Steve, I sat directly behind Lantrell Williams Jr., who you guys said goes by the rap name Pooh Shiesty, for the entire hearing in the very small, tightly packed courtroom. And after back and forth from the prosecution and the defense, the federal judge said that she found probable cause in the alleged kidnapping and robbery charges that Williams Jr. faces and involving Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane. And as the FBI special agent was giving testimony, I could see Williams Jr. shaking his head multiple times in disagreement with all of the allegations being laid out against him. This incident happened back in January, and federal officials actually charged and arrested multiple individuals, including Williams' father and another rapper known as Big 30 and other suspects last week. Williams has a record deal with Atlanta rapper Gucci Mane under the new 1017 record label. The FBI says that Pooh Shiesty pointed an AK-style pistol while demanding to be released from his contract. Investigators say that they were able to track Williams from his ankle monitor and photos suspects allegedly posted on social media. In court, Williams Jr. legal team argued that there's many holes in the FBI's narrative of what happened.
We didn't hear today is there is no contract, this mystery contract. They have no contract. They have no video of this alleged signing of a contract. They have no guns. They have no jewelry. They have none of that physical evidence. What they have is they have allegedly 5 individuals, one of them being a very well-known individual that is allegedly cooperating with the government and making these allegations against my client.
Pooh Shiesty just got denied bond. A reporter who was sitting directly behind him in that small, tightly packed federal courtroom said that as the FBI special agent laid out every single allegation against him, the kidnapping, the robbery, the AK-style pistol, Pooh Shiesty was shaking his head over and over, disagreeing with everything. But it didn't matter. The judge looked this man dead in the face and told him she cannot find a single condition to offer him that hasn't already been granted. No house arrest, no ankle monitor, no bond, nothing. He's done. He is sitting in a federal cell right now. And based on what came out of that courtroom Wednesday, this man might not see freedom for decades. We're talking about potential life in federal prison. Life, not state time. Federal time, no parole. And the part that makes this whole thing gut-wrenching, he just got out. This man did 3 years on gun charges, walked out of federal prison in October 2025 with an ankle monitor strapped to him, and according to prosecutors, used that freedom to allegedly set up an armed robbery and kidnapping on the CEO of his own record label, the man who signed him, the man who put him on, Gucci Mane. His lawyer came out swinging after the hearing, telling reporters they got no contract, no video of any signing, no guns recovered, no jewelry recovered, none of the physical evidence. But the judge still said probable cause exists. And now Pooh Shiesty is behind bars with no way out. So let me break this whole thing down for y'all, because the courtroom details are wild. The defense is already poking holes, and the streets have not stopped talking since April 1st. Let's get into it. To understand how we got here, we need to go back way back. Pooh Shiesty, real name Lantrell Williams Jr., is a Memphis rapper who blew up under Gucci Mane's 1017 Records. That's Gucci's label. Gucci signed this man, gave him a platform, and Pooh Shiesty ran with it. Back in Blood, went crazy. The whole Shiesty season run had the streets on lock. No cap, at one point, Pooh Shiesty was one of the hottest rappers in the game. But here's where the problem started. In 2021, Pooh Shiesty caught a federal firearms case out of Miami, a shooting at a Bay Harbor Islands hotel that left people injured. Seen in Bay Harbor Islands with what investigators say led up to that shootout. Jessica, it was a shooting in the middle of the day involving a well-known rapper. According to police, we reported this story back in October, but now we're seeing how it all went down. Bullets fly in broad daylight. 2 people shot and over $500,000 in exotic cars. All of it caught on camera. This surveillance video is from an October 9th shooting in Bay Harbor Islands, and it has a recording artist who goes by Pooh Shiesty in hot water. Shy, whose real name is Lantrell Williams, was arrested a few days later. He and a member of his entourage charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. He ended up pleading guilty to a firearms conspiracy charge and got hit with a 63-month federal sentence. That's over 5 years, gang. He ended up serving about 3 of those years and got released in October of 2025. The feds strapped an ankle monitor on him immediately. Can't possess firearms. Can't commit any new crimes. Basic stuff that you would think a man who just spent 3 years locked up would follow to the left. And new at 6, Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty is out of federal prison. Court records show the Memphis native, whose real name is Lantrell Williams Jr., was released from a Pennsylvania facility after serving time for a gun charge in Florida. Williams was sentenced in 2022 to just over 5 years for conspiring to possess firearms tied to drug trafficking and violent crimes. His attorney confirmed the release, saying he's eager to return to the studio and make new music. But that's where you'd be wrong, because according to federal prosecutors, within months of being released, Pooh Shiesty allegedly started planning something that would change his life forever, and not in a good way. See, the relationship between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane had been falling apart for months. There were tensions over the contract. Pushy reportedly wanted out of his deal with 2017 records, and things were getting heated. Social media subliminals, industry whispers. The energy was off. Everybody in the culture could feel it, but nobody, and I mean nobody, expected it to go where it went. This is where it gets crazy. On January 10th, 2026, Gucci Mane and 2 associates flew out to Dallas, Texas. They thought they were going to a business meeting at a recording studio, a professional sit-down to discuss contract terms and work out whatever issues existed between Gucci and Pooh Shiesty. That's what they were told. That was the understanding. But according to federal prosecutors, that meeting was a setup from the jump. Let me break this down for y'all step by step, because the details in this federal affidavit are absolutely insane. Gucci Mane and his 2 associates walk into this Dallas recording studio, expecting a business conversation. Pooh Shy is there. His father, Lantrell Williams Sr., is there. Memphis rapper Big 30, real name Rodney Wright Jr., is there. And according to the feds, at least 6 other people are there, too, several of whom travel from Memphis specifically for this. Now, here's where it goes left. Pooh Shiesty allegedly asked to speak with Gucci privately in one of the recording rooms. Just the 2 of them, plus his father and Big 30. That's already suspicious, right? You pull the label boss into a back room with your people. But Gucci goes in, and according to the affidavit, once that door closed, Pooh Shiesty pulled out contract termination paperwork and told Gucci to sign it. When Gucci refused, or they started arguing about it, Pooh Shy allegedly pulled out what appeared to be an AK-style pistol and forced Gucci Mane to sign the release at gunpoint. But that's not even the crazy part. After forcing Gucci to sign the paperwork, Pooh Shiesty allegedly took his wedding ring, his watch, his earrings, and his cash. Just stripped the man of everything. And then when they came out of that back room, the other defendants allegedly pulled out firearms on the 2 remaining victims. One of them, identified in court documents only as MM, was reportedly choked to near unconsciousness. Big 30 allegedly blocked the studio door with his body to make sure nobody could leave. Think about that for a second. This wasn't some spontaneous street altercation. According to federal prosecutors, this was a coordinated, armed takeover. Multiple people with firearms blocked exits, physical violence, forced signing of legal documents. They're calling it kidnapping gang. Federal kidnapping charges. And that carries serious time. Now, here's what makes the whole setup even more suspicious. According to the feds, several of the co-conspirators traveled from Memphis to Dallas specifically for this meeting. That's not a coincidence. That's logistics. That's planning. When the prosecution is laying out their case, that's the kind of detail that tells a judge this wasn't some argument that got out of hand. This was premeditated. People booked flights. People drove across state lines. People showed up to a recording studio armed and ready. And remember, Gucci Mane flew in thinking this was business. He brought 2 associates. 3 men walked into that studio expecting A. professional conversation about music contracts. What they allegedly walked into was a room full of armed individuals who had no intention of negotiating. That's the government's version of events. And when a federal prosecutor frames it that way in front of a judge, it paints a very specific picture. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lantrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robs of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. Now, after January 10th, the streets started buzzing. Rumors were everywhere, but the feds didn't move immediately. They took their time. 3 whole months they sat on this. And here's the thing that made Pooh Shiesty's situation 10 times worse. He was wearing an ankle monitor the entire time. The same ankle monitor the feds put on him as a condition of his supervised release from the gun case, which means federal investigators had electronic monitoring data that placed him at that Dallas recording studio on January 10th. They literally tracked his movements. The government had receipts on his exact location during the alleged crime. You can't make this up. And then on April 1st, 2026, the FBI moved, and they moved hard. FBI agents executed a federal search and arrest warrant at the Williams family home in Cordova, Tennessee. That's a Memphis suburb. Local news crews captured the whole scene. Heavy law enforcement presence starting around 9 a.m. Agents going in and out of the property for hours. Neighbors reported hearing flashbangs. Agents were seen carrying out monitors and brown paper evidence bags. Pooh Shiesty was taken into custody right there. His father was arrested at the same location. 8 of the 9 defendants were picked up that day across Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. The 9th was grabbed by the FBI in Atlanta shortly after. 9 people total caught federal charges. 9, all connected to what happened in that Dallas recording studio. This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. 8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lantrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lantrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Duran Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. And what makes this even wilder, prosecutors say some of the defendants posted photos of the stolen goods on social media after the robbery. They literally gave federal agents exactly what they needed to build their case. And as described further in the complaint, within hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appear to be the jewelry that had been robbed from the victims. The streets were watching, but so were the feds. Now, fast forward to Wednesday, April 8th. This is the moment everybody's been waiting for. Pooh Shiesty's bond hearing in a Dallas federal courtroom. His legal team came in ready to fight. He's got 3 lawyers on this case, including Bradford Cohen, who's handled high-profile cases before, and Pooh Shiesty himself. According to a reporter who was sitting directly behind him in that small courtroom, every time the FBI special agent testified about the allegations, Pooh Shiesty was shaking his head over and over, disagreeing. You could see it was getting to him. This man is hearing the government lay out a case that could bury him for life, and all he can do is sit there and shake his head. But his lawyers came out swinging after the defense strategy started taking shape immediately. Cohen told reporters outside the courthouse that he suspects the FBI waited 3 months to bring the case forward because the statements from the alleged victims were inconsistent. He's basically saying the government's case has holes. And then Cohen dropped something interesting. He said the government has allegedly 5 individuals cooperating, and one of them is a very well-known individual making allegations against his client. Now, he didn't say the name, but read between the lines, fam, the street's already connecting those dots. Another one of SHYY's attorneys, Bob Helms, pushed back on the government's version of events entirely. He told reporters that the government tries to characterize this as a simple dispute over money. But in the music business, things are often not what they seem. The defense is clearly setting up an argument that this situation is more complicated than the feds are making it look. And here's where the defense really started punching holes. Cohen laid it out plain. They got no contract. This mystery contract that Gucci was allegedly forced to sign at gunpoint, the government doesn't have it. No video of any signing. No guns recovered. No jewelry recovered. None of the physical evidence you expect in a case like this. Cohen basically told reporters the entire case is built on witness statements from people who may have their own motives. On top of that, the FBI admitted on the stand that they have not interviewed Gucci Mane or any of the other alleged victims. The Dallas Police Department was a responding agency back in January, and the FBI confirmed they still haven't sat down with the alleged victims. Think about that. The alleged victim in a federal kidnapping. Case hasn't even given a full statement to the FBI, and they're already moving forward with charges. The defense is clearly going to use that. But here's the reality, fam. None of that mattered when it came to the bond decision. Judge Renee Harris-Toever looked at the full picture. She looked at the fact that Pooh Shiesty was already on supervised release when this allegedly happened. She looked at the fact that he was already on house arrest with an ankle monitor. She looked at every condition the court had already given this man, and he allegedly violated all of them. And she said something that hit hard. She told Pooh Shiesty directly, "I can't find any condition to offer that haven't already been granted to you." Read that again. The judge is basically saying, we already gave you house arrest. We already gave you an ankle monitor. We already gave you every opportunity to stay free while awaiting your supervised release obligations. And you allegedly use that freedom to commit a violent federal crime. What else is there to offer? Bond denied. The prosecution presented credible evidence that Shiesty set up the entire meeting with Gucci Mane under false pretenses. That makes this look less like a spontaneous situation and more like a calculated kidnapping plot. And in the judge's attention order, she wrote that based on the credible evidence presented at the hearing, the court found probable cause that Pooh Shiesty committed the crimes alleged in the complaint. He's staying locked up, no bail, no house arrest, nothing. And it's not just Pooh Shiesty. This case is swallowing everyone around him. His own father, Lantrell Williams Sr., initially got a $250,000 bond with a $25,000 cash deposit from a judge in Memphis and was placed on house arrest. But the U.S. Attorney's Office in North Texas immediately filed a motion to revoke that bond. They argued he's a flight risk and a danger to community. Prosecutors say Williams Sr. didn't just participate. They say he helped plan and execute the entire operation, including renting equipment used during the alleged kidnapping. A judge ordered him transferred to jail in Dallas. His bond got revoked. Big 30 had a similar situation. A Tennessee judge granted him $100,000 bond, but the government immediately had it stayed. Texas District Court Judge Ed Kinkead ruled that Big 30 will remain locked up and be transported to Texas. Both sides now have to argue whether he should be released. The government's brief is due April 13th, and Big 30's team has a week after that to respond. So, you got Pooh Shiesty denied bond, his father's bond revoked, Big 30's bond frozen. The feds are making it crystal clear they are not letting anyone connected to this case walk free easily. This is federal. This is coordinated. And the government is treating every single defendant as a serious flight risk and community danger. Now, let me zoom out for a second because this situation is bigger than just one case. The defendants in this case face up to life in federal prison if convicted on all counts. Life. Federal kidnapping charges are no joke. This isn't state court where you might get a deal and be home in a few years. This is the federal system. Federal conviction rates are over 90%. Federal sentences are served at 85% minimum. There is no parole in the federal system. If Pooh Shiesty catches a conviction on these charges, he is going away for a very, very long time. And what makes this so tragic is the timing. This man literally just got free. He did 3 years on the gun case. He walked out and had a chance to rebuild his career, rebuild his life, get back to making music. The rap game was waiting for him. Fans were waiting for him. And according to federal prosecutors, within months of getting out, he allegedly threw it all away over a record contract. A record contract. Fam. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody what really happened in that studio. That's what the courts are for. The defense clearly has arguments they want to make. The missing contract, the fact that the FBI hasn't talked to Gucci yet, the inconsistent victim statements. Bradford Cohen is no amateur. This legal battle is going to play out for months, maybe years. But what I will say is this. The feds don't come with charges like this unless they think they've got something. 9. Defendants coordinate arrests across multiple states, electronic monitoring data, alleged social media evidence. This case is massive. And for Pooh Shiesty specifically, the math is brutal. He was already under federal supervision. He was already wearing a monitor. The government already knew where he was at all times. If these allegations are true, he committed a violent federal crime while the government was literally tracking his location in real time. That is the worst possible scenario for any defendant. The streets are split on this one. Some people are pointing fingers at Gucci Mane, questioning whether he cooperated with the feds. The internet has been calling him a snitch since the arrest dropped. That word has been all over social media. But let's keep it 100 for a second. If somebody runs up on you with an AK-style pistol, takes your wedding ring, your watch, your earrings, and your cash and forces you to sign a document at gunpoint while your people are getting choked out in the next room, is reporting that snitching? Or is that just being a victim of a violent crime? That's the debate the internet has been having for a week straight. And honestly, there's no easy answer because the culture has complicated rules about these things. But here's what's interesting. Bradford Cohen, Pooh Shiesty's own lawyer, hinted in his statement that a very well-known individual is cooperating with the government. He didn't name names. He didn't have to. Everybody already knows who he's talking about. And that cooperation, or alleged cooperation, is going to be a major part of how the defense tries to discredit the government's case. If the main witness against Pooh Shiesty has financial motives or contractual grudges, the defense is going to hammer that at trial. That's going to be a whole battle in itself. Others are saying Pooh Shiesty brought this on himself, that he had every opportunity to handle this differently, that there are lawyers and managers and entertainment attorneys who specialize in getting artists out of bad deals, that you don't need an AK-style pistol to renegotiate a record contract. And those people aren't wrong either. The music business has a long history of artists feeling trapped in contracts, but there are legal avenues. There are always legal avenues. The question is whether Pooh Shiesty felt like those avenues were available to him, or whether the frustration of years behind bars and a contract he felt was unfair pushed him to a point of no return. But at the end of the day, what's not debatable is this. Pooh Shiesty is sitting in a federal cell with no bond, facing charges that could put him away for the rest of his prime years, maybe longer than that. His father is locked up. His co-defendants are locked up. His freedom is gone, and the trial hasn't even started yet. This is one of those situations where you look at a young rapper with all the talent in the world and wonder, what if he just waited it out? What if he let the lawyers handle the contract dispute? What if he just made music and let the business side work itself out? Because, let's be real, Pooh Shiesty had the talent. Back in Blood is one of the hardest tracks to come out of Memphis in the last decade. The Shiesty season run put him on a level that most rappers dream about. He had fans ready to ride for him the second he touched down from prison. Labels would have been lining up. Features would have been pouring in. All he had to do was stay clean for a few years, finish out his supervised release, and he would have been completely free to do whatever he wanted with his career. Sign a new deal, start his own label, go independent. The options were limitless. Instead, according to the federal government, he chose violence. He allegedly chose to handle a business dispute with firearms instead of attorneys. And now the same federal system that just let him walk is about to decide how many decades he'll spend behind bars. This case is far from over. The defense has arguments. The missing contract is a big deal. The lack of victim interviews is a big deal. The cooperating witness angle is going to get messy. This trial, if it goes to trial, is going to be one of the most watched cases in hip-hop in years. But right now, in this moment, Pooh Shiesty is sitting in a federal holding facility with no bond, no conditions, and no path to freedom before trial. His father is locked up next to him. His co-defendants are scattered across federal facilities. And the government is building a case that they clearly believe is strong enough to put all 9 defendants away for a very long time. What do y'all think? Is the defense going to be able to poke enough holes in this case? Or is Pooh Shy looking at serious time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe because this case is going to have a lot more developments and we're going to be on top of every single one of them. Until next time, stay safe out.